So today's we are going to go a bit more deeper on the itchiness of the mind when there is something that it's like a wound. It's constantly want to itch until you see there is damage in it. So when you're caught up in the separation of yourself, what mind does is it wants to find that right and wrong. And I'm going to talk about this through the class. If you're not quite aware of it, you will bring that wound into the relationship, wound to the health, wound to the community, wound to whatever area. It does not matter. We don't have to separate it furthermore. But that itching is the thought. So when there is something that when you cannot witness, your mind get caught up like a dog run behind the bone and start digging and digging and digging until the hole is become deeper and the walls around the side will collapse and it get buried in it. It's the same thing that you have to understand. The mind can, if you're not cautious about it, if you're not aware about it, it can pull you into that deep level of that hole, not as depth as the understanding and the realization, but unnecessarily getting caught up in something. So whatever the situation is, you have to come about this awareness of what are the main factors that itch you. You were very uncomfortable and you need to constantly talk about it. You constantly have to force deal with it. So saying that, I'm going to give you some Buddhist principles to work with this throughout the class. So now very gently you're finding a place to sit comfortable. Comfortably allow the body to take the shape of that. You are not caught up in the duality of the mind. So when you're witnessing, you understand nothing reach you. It's just there. Whether the uncomfort or comfort, whether happiness or unhappiness. But you create the space on your body and space on that space of the understanding. Shoulders open and chest open. And allow that breath to very gently come in. And move the camera towards Darren. And very gently allow that breath to move out. So now nothing reaches you. They're just in your awareness. The screen is empty from the picture. With the happiness, unhappiness. Now, when it is empty, that is what we call peace. So very gently find that moment where you are very gently coming into that realization and understanding. Now take a deep breath in. Arms very gently raised back into the ground. Interlacing the fingers, palms facing up. So this is not about yoga that we are icing it furthermore or sugaring it furthermore. Otherwise, we will go to the opposite of that. Twist the spine to the right, stomach pulling, and allow the breath in. You're just simply coming into the awareness of the clearing things, letting go things. Let all things that is happening in your life just to be there. Don't run away from it. Don't run into it. Now gently coming back into the center. Change the leg formation. Arms rest onto the crown, interlacing the fingers, palms facing up. Gently on an out breath, twisting the spine onto the left side. Back is very gently opening up, coming back into the center. Now see, when I talk about the itchingness of the mind, whether we are laughing about something, whether we are crying about it, whether we are celebrating, things are just happening. So just let it happen. It does not need your personal emotion into it. Regardless of whether you're happy, unhappy, whether you're jumping up and down or you're crying. So allow this class, whether you're experiencing the sight, sounds, taste, smells, bodily feelings, mental status, you should not take it personally. Should release them. Okay? Take the energy of what you're hearing, sounds, and let them go. Now take a deep breath in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate, energy gaze. Let that tongue strengthen its muscle onto the upper palate. Breath out, collapse the spine into a seated cat. Now, if the smell or odor is there, it does not need your attention. Just let it be, let it go. Just leave it. At nose, when the bodily feeling arises, let go of it. Like or the dislike. Remember, otherwise the mind will that follow, let them go back. Breathing in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate, energy gaze onto the third eye. Let them go to their birthplace. Let them find their own town. It does not need your place. Breathe out. Anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. All these things are just let them go. The way. Now a neutral spine. Now stretch the neck to the right side. Drop that left shoulder a little bit more. Now, whether you are happy or unhappy, let them be. Now, very gently stretch the neck to the opposite ear. Now, when your mind is not itching, the wisdom arises. But into the center. Shoulders relax. Now, very gently holding onto the opposite elbows into the back. Overlooking to the right side. Now, holding on to the elbows on the opposite direction. And overlooking onto the left side. Back into the center. Now very gently release the arms. Stretch the arms onto the side. Palms stretch. Palms facing up. Palms facing into the back without triggering the shoulder. Palms facing down without triggering the shoulders. Palms facing up, palms facing into the front, palms facing into the back. Now relax. And now holding on to the Garudasana right on the top. Breathe out, collapse into a seated Garudasana. Holding the Garudasana. Breathing in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate, energy gaze onto the third eye, looking up, push the belly into the front, shoulders pull back. Breathe out and relax. Now Garudasana onto the left side. Take a deep breath in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate, energy gaze onto the third eye. Breathe out, anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. Neutral spine and relax. Spread the wings. So now you can allow the pleasant feeling of the mind is there. Unpleasant feeling of the mind is unhappiness, but you're not taking them personally. Dislikes and likes. When your mind indulges in these things, we say that it clings to our selves. So you think it's worthy holding into one thing, and it's unworthy to letting go another thing. It's still clinging into the action of the mind, that happiness or unhappiness. Now, when you come into the center, take the left leg back, opening up your right hip into the pigeon pose. Shoulders roll back, opening up the chest. Take a deep breath in, breath out, drop the elbows, walk those palms, release the tension. Now, when Buddha was doing the sermons on this, to separate the mind from the feeling, what he literally means to throw them to a different place. He meant that the mind must know happiness and know unhappiness. But when you're sitting in the practice, the peace fills the mind. When the happiness comes, but it does not reach you. Unhappiness comes, but it does not reach you. This is to separate the feeling from the mind. We can compare it to oil and water in a bottle. They don't combine. Even if they combine for a while, they separate. Now, when you come into this realization, because they are different density, the natural state of the mind is neither happiness nor unhappiness. You have to understand this very clearly. Because some people say mind is meant to be happy all the time. No. What is meant to be happy? Enters the mind and happiness or unhappiness is born. If we have mindfulness, then we know pleasant feeling as pleasant feeling. The mind, which knows, will not to pick it up. So now can you put all your frustration into this level of understanding and all your joy into this understanding? Happiness is there, but it's outside the mind, not buried within the mind. The mind simply knows it's clearly. If we separate unhappiness from the mind, it does. That means there is no suffering. Very gently coming back. When you come into this realization, let the body work on a psychosomatic way. whatever the issues from you from a childhood, all your stories, just bring this calculation into it. Very gently coming into a plank. Stronger. So in this very moment, you can, by witnessing in the mindfulness, in the samadhi, the mind does not hold anything. So there is no suffering. Now drop the knees, completely coming onto a pack, anus lock, navel lock. Bring those wrists under the armpit. Breathing in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate. Breathe out, anus lock, navel lock. Breathing in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate. Energy gaze. Breathe out, anus lock, navel lock. Now coming into a neutral spine and give a good rotation to the hips, wider rotation to whatever the side it is naturally. Now the body is going through the movement, the breath is breathing, mind is taking the instructions. But you're looking at these things through the knowledge and the wisdom. Onto the other side. So the movement is happening, but you're not clinging into it. Thoughts can go through it, but you're not clinging to it. Whether it's happiness or unhappiness, whether it's noise or no sound, whether it's feeling or no feeling. When you come into this level of understanding, push the hips into the front, push the hips into the back, means wide apart, palms facing up, release the attention. Happiness is happiness, whether you like it or not. Unhappiness is unhappiness, whether you like it or not. When you come into this level of understanding, you no longer hold that itchiness, the wound, the poison. Now the happiness was there through the knowledge, but it didn't exist in your mind. Because you don't take anything into the mind, but you witness whether it's happiness, unhappiness. So now an enlightened person goes through this stage. Because they knew them for what they are. They let them go. But someone who is not in the practice will grab happiness and will try to fight with the other. It will grab money. It will try to fight opposite to that. It will grab health and try to fight. You got it so far. Palms facing down, crawling and bringing the chest into the front, breathing in, shoulders roll back, opening up the chest, heart elevate into up face. Shoulders roll back, stretch the elbows properly, elevate the posture properly. Breathe out towards a down face. Now, when you come into this realization of the practice, lift up onto the toes, push down to the heels. Take a deep breath in, lift up onto the toes, push down to the heels. Left foot into the front, into the pigeon pose. Shoulders roll back, opening up the chest. Elevate the space of the heart. You're guiding the body. You're observing the mind. You're allowing the breath. You're allowing happiness, unhappiness, feeling, no feeling, smell, all that, but without grabbing them. So you are sweeping things that in the past that holding you, and you're wounding that out of that itchiness, out of things which cause them otherwise to suffer. Take a deep breath in, shoulders roll back, open up the chest, breathe out, drop the elbows, hold those palms. Let the body come into that state of your understanding. Shoulders relax and chest open. When you realize that, when you know whether something such as happiness as good as, you won't grab it. Don't hold it as a permanency. You just simply brush them away. But when feeling arise, don't indulge in it. It is the mind carries that happiness and unhappiness around in. They're two different things. So it's constantly in a fight. Wherever your fight is, activities of the mind, pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, and it goes so on. World, not world. The mind thinks it can involve in these things and keep itching and itching. When you realize and come into this realization, you know the truth of these things. Someone doesn't know them, sees them as having a different value. But when you realize it, you see them as equal. If you cling to happiness, it will be the birthplace of unhappiness later on. Because unhappiness is unstable, it changes all the time as happiness. Happiness disappears, unhappiness arises. Take a deep breath in, very gently coming back, shoulders relaxed. Now, when you're coming back, you're coming into this realization, into a stronger plank. Elevate the back of the head, allow the plank to feel that energy. Drop the knees, coming into a cat, breathe out. Breathing in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate, energy gaze onto the third eye. Breathe out, anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. Breathing in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate and gaze onto the third. Now right arm reaching up on a neutral spine, full circle under the armpit. And very gently allow the body to stretch and feel that stretch. Now releasing that any tension that arising from your realization, don't be personal. Now, whether it's a happiness arise, whether a realization arise, you're seeing that both these things have equal values and drawbacks. They come under the law of Dharma. That is, they are unstable and unsatisfactory. Once born, they die. Now, your right samadhi is to viewing it properly. practice has become more clearer no matter whatever the stage you are feeling, sort of feeling or thinking. Now very gently coming back again into a cat, cow, neutral spine, left arm reaching up to the ceiling, into the back, under the arm. Very gently allow shoulder blade back. Simply now you're continuing, whether it's a play of happiness or unhappiness, whether it's a play of health or no health, whether it's a play of moody or no moody, whether it's movement or no movement, whether it's today or tomorrow, whether it's your story or no story, you are not clinging to them. So your realization is you are not walking the way of happiness or unhappiness, but you are knowing them. You're not walking the way of rich or poor. Now very gently coming back, releasing the tension, breathe out to a cat. Breathing in, tongue all up onto the upper palate, energy gaze onto the third eye. Neutral spine, rotate base wider, wider, wider. You're working with a whole system, not just the identity of this is my body and this is my. If I take the body parts, liver as liver, the pancreas as pancreas, heart as heart, there is no you. Wider rotation, which leads into the front, means wider parts to the spine, palms facing up. So the way out of this suffering is totally become awakened to both polarities. So you're knowing and you're being in the presence of the mind right now, right within. Tamasama. That whatever you're doing, whatever you have to do, right now, through the practice, you're learning to observe like this, be aware of how we are living, how we are conducting ourselves, how we talk, how we react. Don't you think these are amazing wisdom that is rising, that you could suddenly see you before you were seeing the others? But you're in this investigation all the time. All the postures are when a mental impression arises that we like, we know it as such, but we don't hold it to be anything substantial. It's just happiness. When unhappiness arises, we know that is indulged in pain. It's not the path. It does not pain anything any further. Now, palms facing down, crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Take a deep breath in, and you're coming into a gentle cobra, elbows on the floor. Lift up the chest, shoulders roll back, lengthen through the spine. Just become aware of this body. It has a back and it has a front, it has a side and it has a side. Not that you're clinging into or you're not separating it. You're clever to not to attach. We leave things as it is. We become the one who knows the mind. And feelings are just like oil and water, but they are in the same bottle as the mind and the body, but they don't mix. If we are sick or in pain, we still know the feeling as feeling. The mind is mind. We know the painful and the comfortable state, but we don't identify with them. We stay only with the peace of realizing beyond both comfort and pain. Relax onto the floor, third eye on the fist. So now there is no permanent self. Because when the story becomes, I am this person, it has created a permanent self. And there is no refuge. You must live like this is that is without happiness and without unhappiness. You stay only with the knowing. You don't carry things around so long as you are still unenlightened. All this may sound strange. You see everything as merely as that they are, nothing more to it. They are divided, not mixed. They are all mixed up, then we don't know them. Palms very gently bringing into where the elbows are. Breathing into a little bit more of a Bhujangasana, a cobra, not a up face, but extending a little bit more than the elbows level, if you can, and very gently bringing the palms where the elbows and then lift up a little bit more without pushing the shoulders up. Drop the shoulders, lift up the heart. Breathe out towards a downwards. Now left leg up into the back. Breathe out, left knee to the left chest. Breathing in, stretch back. Left knee to the left elbow. Breathing in, stretch back. Left knee onto the right elbow. Breathing in, stretch back. Left foot into the front. Arms stretch into the back, interlacing the fingers. Arms raise onto the crown. Interlacing the fingers, bend the knees in deeper. Stretch the elbows, Virabhadrasana onto the back. Opening up. Take a mudra. Don't mix everything. All big stuff and you don't know. Like living in a house and its occupants are related, but they are separate. We live together in the harmony of this mind and the body, like living in a house. But if there is a fire, right, we get out of it just like the house. And it's full of fire, and we know we come running out of it. That's your realizing. Arch. But the house is one thing, occupants is another thing. Back into the center, elbow onto the knee, right arm reaching onto the sacrum and up into the front. And when the knees sit deeper, keep that hip open, keep that foot alignment correct. Now you separate the mind and the feeling in this way, but in fact they are by nature already separate. And our realization is simply know this natural separateness according to the reality when we say they are not separated. It's because we are clinging to them through ignorant of the truth. Right, reaching to the front, touch the floor. Left arm, reaching, take a deep breath up the ceiling. Open up the space of the tightness. Let certain psychosomatic energies to understand this realization and move through. Even you are opening the body, you are not connecting into the body as a ownership. Into the back and touch the floor. Into a plank. Lower plank. Up face. Down face. Right leg up into the back. Right knee to the right chest. Stretch back. Right knee to the right elbow. Stretch back. Right knee to the left elbow. Stretch back. Right foot into the front. Arm stretch into the back. Interlacing the fingers, arms weights into the front. Up to the ceiling. Opening up into the Virabhadrasana. Take a mudra. Know that the intellect is not enough. The knowledge which is arising from the practice and with the mindfulness. Knowledge which comes from the study, really far apart of the knowledge which comes from the study is not real. Knowledge of your mind, if we really know that there is letting go and leaving things, we know how things are. And don't forget ourselves. It happens that we are sick. We don't get lost in that. Someone who is sick or dying should be really diligent in their practice. Gentle arch. Back into the center. Bend the knee, sit deeper, elbow onto the knee. Left arm reaching into the sacrum and up to the ceiling. Into the front. Touch the flow. Right reaching up into the back. Touch the flow. Into a plank. Drop the knees and stretch the spine. Now, let's say your body is going through something. So people think, now I can't do the practice, I can't meditate, I can't sit still. And this is the things are difficult. But this is an opportunity to come into the awareness. Let's say whether we are sick or whether we are coming to the end of the life, we can really know and we can see the reality just about the mind and its feeling is not something that you have to run after or struggle. Take care of the natural process of all we have to do this, living in this body. But observe where you are. Wisdom arising, bird to see clearly. So your practice is just to investigate like this continuously. The mind will find to release, but it's not escaping through the ignorance of the mind. But let go, but it knows it doesn't let go to the stupidity, not because it does not want things to be the way they are. And let go because it knows according to the truth, this is seeing the nature of the reality, and that's all around us. So your practice today is to let go of both right and wrong. In the end, we just throw everything out of this right, throw it out of wrong, throw it, and we cling to the righteousness, and let the Dharma move through where there is nothing. So whatever the things that you are having in this whole week, put into this level of understanding and realization. Now, when you're quietly coming into a child pose, things will come to the surface. You're nothing about them. Don't react to them. As they have come, so they will go by themselves. All that matter is the mindfulness, total awareness of oneself, rather of taking it personally. Now wake up the spine quietly, alert, relax, and watch. Now you're not trying to be quiet here. There is nothing to practice. There is nothing to do. Just being aware of and affectionate intensely. Keep very quiet and watch what comes to the surface of the mind. Are you still itching the wound of the mind? Or go with it. Begin by being that dispassionate observer, shifting the emphasis from the superficial, change for person to the immutable and ever-present witness. I have to do this, I have to do that now. Let thoughts flow. Watch them. Very observation slows down the mind. Don't get bored with the go deeper into it. Lift up onto the knees. If it is too cold to do this posture, use a bolster to do the Uttanasana. You can keep it on the heels so you have more support to, without pushing to open up the spaces. Right arm reaching up into the ceiling, right arm reaching onto the balls. Left arm reaching up, left arm reaching into the balls. Lift up the space. And gentle arch. Push the hips forward a little bit with a tight lift onto the hips, tight lift onto the heart. And you have done, you can hold on to the hips, you don't have to go onto the bolster even. And very gently support the back, moving into the child. Now, did you take it personally? Did you got caught up on the body? Whenever that thought or emotion? Are you caught up in the fear comes to your mind? Just turn away from it. Look between the thoughts rather than at the thought. They're not asking you to stop thinking. Just cease being interested. Cease being itching. Cease just talking about it constantly. Don't look on it. That's all. Now you have left the mind alone. That's all. Crown of the head onto the floor, lifting up the buttocks. Activate the pituitary and the pineal energy. come to a state in which there is nothing, roll onto the third eye and feast on the third eye. Only being, in which being itself is knowledge. Forget the known, but remember that you are the knower. There is no how here. Just keep in the mind the feeling I am, merging it onto your mind and the feeling become one. But you understand the separation, but without reacting into the separation. So you're calling you back to yourself. You're looking at yourself, towards yourself, into yourself. You're clinging into that amness. I am. I let go all else. This life, that life, father, mother, brother, sister, worker, because you watch your discoveries as the watcher. Only watching emotions. There is no condition to fulfill. When you can fulfill things, you're fulfilling things out of conditions. There's nothing to be done, but when you're doing, it is not personal. Nothing to be given up when you're giving up. You're doing from there. Nothing to be given up at all. But you're detached from it. Look at yourself in total silence. Now, in this silence, don't describe yourself again. Don't create a self again. Pure awareness of being. There is no self-identification. In that total realization of consciousness, there's nothing. When you come into this realization, not even idea of nothing, there's only this light. Your identity is not lost, but only its limitations are lost. And you become the real self. Wake up the spine one vertebra at a time. Stretch the legs into the front. Release any tension. Give a good rotation. Sole of the feet together, knees wide apart. Very gently butterflying and releasing any further tension. Just fly to the right. Back to the center. Just fly to the outside. Back to the center. Now coming into a seated posture where it is going to be comfortable for you. Or realizing itself as you have come into that place of the God within you. Now just approach yourself with the reverence of that love. Relax and watch the endless. Reality is just behind it. keep emerging into that. Keep silent, keep quiet. It will take you in that. When it's so quiet, the mind is so quiet, which reflects the reality. When it is motionless, through and through, it dissolves. And let the reality give attention to the reality within. Let it come to the light. Keep on remembering, you're neither mind nor its idea. You're neither body nor its field. You're neither past nor its future. You're neither health or yours. Duality belongs to the stupidity. Be patient. Your conviction will surely come to the direct vision of yourself as the source, as the God, as of the being, as of the knowing, as of the love, as of the loving, as of the eternal. As of the sound, as of the vibration. You're resting in God. So hand yourself. You're dismantling the emotional programs for happiness. They're the root causes of all your problems. But you're facing them, but you're feeling them, but you're not personal about it. Because you're allowing to pass through. Whereas once again, you're allowing that radical healing, accepting of the situation, but not taking it personal. And that accepting, some way the God is present. Matter of shifting the location of this sense of identity, the false self, deeply entrenched. Now that the transitioning and the transformation is you're going through, let today be a lot of breakthrough and elimination. the contemplative journey, purification of the unconscious. And you realize this, let go of the false self, arms raised very gently. Releasing the tension of the pride. There's no self. Actual experience of the self-knowledge. Raised to the crown. Release and understand the God. Misunderstood its meaning. God has not promised to take away of the trials, but to help you to change your attitude to understand. Coming to the crown, and that's what is the holiness release. Red eye. Become fully divine in that space, then you will become fully human. Throat chakra. Transformation to our innermost being, heart. Softness, divine way of being. Love will pick you up when you sincerely believe nobody else will. Then you begin to experience the freedom of peace and calm, equality, Muladhara and neighbor, the liberation from the craving. Arms gently raised back from total surrender of the self into the crown. Touch the earth. Coming into the Namaskar position, recognizing that space within all of us. Namaste to you all. Where that divine light is pouring into the world from that here. Whatever is being experienced as people and events in our life, they're designed for the evolution of this divine life in us. They actually get from that same Holy Spirit. So treat this as the depth of the sincerity of our love, not running away from, not pushing away from. So today be very gentle with the rest of the day. Namaste, Sylvia. Namaste, Elise. Namaste, Daza and Rebecca and your lovely pets, and Maria and Sage. So you see, we go deeply into the practice further and further. And be very gentle, because when this transformation merges into it, body react to the opposite of that peace. The devil comes out before God settles in. And enjoy that also. It's like fever. You scream and you sweat and because it's holding patterns. And when we suddenly realize we are no longer there, they scream at you, take me back. It's like someone has been living in your house, and the moment you decided, I'm letting you go, they won't go that easily. In Sri Lanka, there is a term, Yanayaka Yane Kurabinane. Means the devil, when you try to push it out, make a lot of damage. They'll punch walls and they'll hit things and break things. So be mindful of that. We all go through all these things. So be gentle, and be gentle. I love you all. Big hearts for you all. Namaste until next time.